Tess Herman. I am from Winchester, Connecticut. I am a teaching assistant for the journalism school for the Civil Rights trip. I applied to be the TA for the trip for a few reasons. This trip explores the incredible history of the civil rights movement in the United States. The civil rights movement was a long struggle, perhaps continuing today, to assure all citizens here have rights and resources that help us live our lives to the fullest today. And so it's really important to understand where we came from and what struggles were put forth by people day in and day out that have allowed us to live with the freedoms that we have today. And then additionally, I think it's really important to take students on educational expeditions. I've led quite a few educational expeditions, and the ability to actually go and experience history where it actually took place really emphasizes how incredible these actions that these people were taking during the civil rights movement, and allows the student to actually kind of feel it. And being in a new place and seeing all of these things with your very own eyes allows you to better understand what actually took place in history, which can allow your mind to expand and better understand what's going on, which gives perspective on your own life when you get back home as well. For me, the most powerful moment of the trip was when we were in the 16th Street Baptist Church. Now, the 16th Street Baptist Church had been bombed and 4 little girls there were killed. And you would think that perhaps this might be a solemn place. I'm sure there has been a lot of pain experience there, but I thought it was really powerful to see the church in full working order with a full choir and a full community, and they really embraced us and let us be a part of the church service itself. So it was particularly inspiring to see this place that had become such a target of the civil rights movement, that had literally been bombed, completely restored to its full vibrancy. And for me, that was really a beacon of hope and a beacon of strength, to show that even though there are some bleak parts in history, you can literally rebuild and come together and walk away stronger. What surprised me the most, which actually isn't a huge surprise, is how incredible the students were. Because all of the students were very well versed in the civil rights movement. You can tell they had done a lot of their own reading, a lot of their own research, and they were so engaged with all of our hosts and all of the speakers and historians that we talked to. And it was actually through the students' questions and through the students' interactions that I learned a lot. I was particularly impressed with the vulnerability that the students showed, and they were willing to discuss their feelings, open up about their curiosities, willing to talk and digest these really hard the students were able to discuss these really challenging topics in a very mature manner, and I was impressed that they were willing to approach topics related to conflict and race relations in a really healthy and positive manner. And so I was just really impressed with the students the most. For me, I think this should be a required trip for all Americans, because our U.S. history is one that is wrought with conflict, a lot of racial conflict, and to really understand some of the larger structural racism and issues that we are facing today, you really have to kind of look in the past and understand your history. And so this trip really illuminates the challenging history of race relations in the United States, and that challenging history of fighting for one's rights and fighting for one's freedoms, the freedoms that we all enjoy, regardless of your race. And so if these topics are important to you, if the freedoms that you enjoy are important to you, you should really know who fought for you to have those freedoms today. So that's why I feel like literally every American should be required to take this class. But more practically, any student who goes to Ohio University should also take this class. It's a rare opportunity to actually have history come to life before your very eyes. Now, when we study history in the history books, it's often just stays in the books, right? But here we actually get to walk in the same steps where the people literally fought and died for our own rights. You get to sing in the same places where Martin Luther King sang. We get to march over the bridge where a lot of the civil rights workers marched hand in hand, and actually get a little bit of like a revival of history as it lived on. And so I think this would be an incredible trip for any Ohio University student. So I am actually also an environmental studies student, and even if you're not in the journalism school, I would recommend taking this class, because this content, you know, your rights and your freedom, applies to literally everyone. And so knowing your history allows you to better understand, you know, how you exist in your own society today.